original revelation that was from God in to Prophet Isa alaihi salam, they decided to also add what Jesus and the narrative events concerning him. To better ensure their faithful transmission, the words of Jesus and the narrative were put in writing. Thus, the way was prepared for the redaction of the Gospels, which took place some decades after the death and resurrection of Jesus. As we all know, after the death of Jesus, they do not have like a prophet to guide them, so they decided to also create some new scriptures. For example, the letters of Paul and the other apostles or leaders were first read in the church, for which they were written, were passed on to other churches, preserved to be read on other occasions, and eventually accepted as scripture and attached to the Gospels. So they decided to add what Paul and his followers teaching, and they decided that they put it as the same level as Gospels. Maybe they believe that the word of Paul as the same as the revelation from God. Now, what the Quran views on scriptures? The Quran recognized that the Torah that was revealed to Prophet Musa alaihi salam and the Gospel that was revealed to Prophet Isa alaihi salam as revelations from God. However, Quran also views itself as the final and continuation belief expressed in the earlier scriptures. Quran uphold the authenticity of the Jewish and Christian scriptures. There are references within the Quran about the corruption in other scriptures. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says in Surah Al-Maidah, "Wa anzalna ilaikal kitaba bil haqqi musaddiqan lima bayna yadayhi minal kitabi wa muhaiminan alayhi. Fahkum bainahum bima anzalallah wa la tattabi' ahwa'ahum amma ja'aka minal haqq likullin ja'alna minkum shir'atan wa minhajan." We have revealed to you, O Prophet, this book with the truth as a confirmation of previous scriptures and a supreme authority on them. So judge between them by what Allah has revealed, and do not follow their desires over the truth that has come to you. To each of you we have ordained a code of law and a way of life. Next, Allah also said in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 79, فَوَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ ثُمَّ يَقُولُونَ هَذَا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ لِيَشْتَرُوا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا فَوَيْلٌ لَهُمْ مِمَّا كَتَبَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَوَيْلٌ لَهُمْ مِمَّا يَكْسِبُونَ. So, woe to those who distort the scripture with their own hands and then say, "This is from Allah," seeking a fee in pleading Him. So woe to them for what their hands have written, and woe to them for what they have earned. So basically, most of the Jews and Christians, they believe that what the Torah and Quran Bible are the words of God. So basically, this is all wrong, because what they had actually that has been corrupted by their rabbis and monks. It is clear that the Quran does not support the Jewish and Christian claim that the Torah and the Bible remain uncorrupted through history, but the history has shown itself. For example, the Council of Nicaea, that they had corrupted and changed the content in the original revelation. The Quran does not say that the older scriptures remains pure and free from corruption. And lastly, the Quran are revealed to confirm the truth that is left in the older scriptures.
Okay. To conclude our presentation, so it's not surprising for the other two religions, which is Judaism and Christianity, to have similar concept of scripture, because we basically came from the same roots, and they are in Quranic perspective, in Quranic understanding, that the two religions are actually just deviations from the original Islam. So as Allah has said, No, I would like to make sense of our presentation first. If in case you couldn't follow our presentation. So at first we define what is kitab as both the scripture itself to define the scripture, and then we also use kitab as a semantic, and we refer to other religions what their perspective on the scripture itself, because of course to understand what their perspective on the scripture we have to refer to them first. But then we come back to the true source of knowledge, which is the Quran, to refer to their attitude and how the Quran criticizes them on their current scriptures, how they corrupt them. As Allah has said, Inna dina inda Allah al-Islam, wa ma ikhtalafa alladhina utul kitaba illa min ba'di ma ja'atuhumul bayyinat, wa man yakfur bi وما اختلف الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءتهم البينات بغيا بينهم ومن يكفر بآيات الله فإن الله سريع الحساب. So they only corrupted their scriptures because they don't want to accept so-called the update of the religion. So they don't want to accept the Quran, for example, to the extent that they kill their prophets and they change their scriptures to their own benefits and interests. Okay. Is there any question?
Any question? No question? Clear? Crystal clear? Okay, any one of you may answer to this question. In Al-Baqarah 79, that you mentioned this. Show that soon. فويل للذين يكتمون الكتاب بأيديهم ثم يقولون هذا من عند الله ليشتروا به ثمنا قليلا وويل لهم مما كتبت أيديهم وويل لهم. Can you relate this ayah, or you analyze the content of the ayah in light of the definition of scripture as you showed just now? Definition of scripture according to the Jews and the Christians. The table that we showed just now. Can you go back to the table? Yes, this one. Can you analyze that? Or can you at least explain how this ayah in Baqarah actually explains the attitude of the Jews and the Christians? Or if you do not want to say attitude, you wanted to say what happened to their scripture from their own perspective. What has happened to their scripture from their own perspective? Now Al-Quran is describing it using ayah 79 of Al-Baqarah. Can you explain that? Anyone? No problem.
So when the Jews and the Christians they don't want to accept the truth, they make their own writings and scripture, and they compare their own scripture as the same level as the message from God. So that's why most of them are claiming that their teaching and their scripture is from God, but actually it has been changed. The meaning of it has been changed, and they put their new way of teaching for their benefits, and they claim that it is also from God, but actually it's not.
Any other people wants to add? Yes, yes.
I think the verse of of course, emphasize Allah criticized them of their hypocrisy, because both of them can see that they both share the similar concept of scripture, that scripture comes from God, and even from the Jews, the Torah originated from creation before the creation of world. However, they being hypocrites because afterwards they add themselves their own version to fulfill in their frameworks of religion, which is incomplete because they refuse to accept the next prophet or the next revelation, which is Quran. So because of their incompleteness of their faith, they fulfill those holes with their own myths and stories and fables.
Alright, thank you so much. That's good. That explanation is much clearer. Okay, so the idea here is that Quran Al-Karim is actually giving us the signals. Okay, it is not giving you the detailing. Yeah, but we can easily understand from the Quran. And it talks about the claim of the Jews and the Christians that what they had were scriptures. But indeed, okay, scripture here means they are how can I say, claiming that this is kitab with the third usage that Brother Usama mentioned just now. Right. So they were claiming that is the kitab. Whereas what happened in their history is it is not that kitab actually. It is the second layer and the third layer at the level of Mishnah that you have mentioned just now. Okay, the supplements. Okay, it is the interpretation actually. They are the interpretation of what they have understood and that what they wanted to understand actually. It's not actually the true understanding. What they tend to understand, they think that is the right. And sometimes even they thought they knew that is not the right, so they wanted that understanding to be acceptable by people. Then later on they have came with several other layers, what they also believe to be scriptures. The same thing happening in Christianity as well. Right. Just a side